And we are live. Thank y'all for being here today on an impromptu ABL live. We're going to get this verdict in about, I'm not sure, 10 minutes, between 10 and 40 minutes. They said it'll be read between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, I guess Eastern time. I'm not really sure. But we're here, okay? I'm watching all the major networks. They're saying the verdict will be read pretty soon. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. And as you guys may know, Derrick Chauvin is the officer who was involved with the George Floyd case. He had the knee on the neck or the shoulder, wherever it was, for the 9 minutes, however many seconds. And there's a few options on the table as it relates to Derrick Chauvin. They're talking about varying degrees of murder, varying degrees of manslaughter, or there might not be a conviction. Since this has been a pretty quick thing, and I'm reading, rumor, maybe unsubstantiated, but I'm reading that it was a unanimous decision. I'm reading that since it's come so quick that there's going to be guilty verdicts, probably all the way around. Now, the thing about that is, even if there is a guilty verdict, there probably would be an immediate an appeal. The judge even said it. He was like, okay, you got all these politicians talking about what's happening here. You're setting it up for an automatic appeal, and it'll probably get turned over on the appeal. And it's nearly impossible to have a fair trial in a situation. There's been all kind of pop culture references to this trial. You've had Dave Chappelle do a whole quote-unquote comedy routine on it. Saturday Night Live, all the major news outlets. Joe Biden has spoken about it. Ilhan Omar has spoken about it. Maxine Waters has made threats. Some of the jurors have been doxxed, allegedly. They have gone to some of the jurors' old homes and thrown blood and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it was a juror home or if it was Derrick Chauvin's home. And this kind of harkens back to the OJ trial. Very similar to the OJ trial in a lot of different ways. One of the main things, obviously, is that this has been broadcast on television. So, that's, OJ trial all day long with Robert Shapiro and, Johnny Cochran. If it don't fit, you must acquit, all this and that and the third. But a lot of the jurors later went on record and said that they were afraid to convict OJ because if they did, then their lives could be in danger. And then, of course, there could be some riots. I think there'll be some level of rioting regardless of what. Even if you say even if you say Derrick Chauvin is totally guilty on all counts, there still may be some rioting. If he's not guilty on all the counts that they want, there's going to be some rioting. Maxine Waters came out there and said it. She said, hey, if he's not guilty on murder, not the manslaughter, so it's not even enough to have him guilty on some of the charges. He has to be guilty of the ultimate. And if he's not, then they got to go out there in the street and do what they do. Okay, so if he's not guilty on all of these charges, I think there would still be a level of kickback there. But we'll see what's going on. I think most people in here understood what happened. I can't speak for everyone, of course, because we're all different people. But I think we know that the drugs was the main thing that got him. Of course, I mean, come on. Like, if you're on fentanyl, you have what they quoted as a lethal amount of fentanyl in your system. You have a history of fentanyl use. Your girlfriend said that you both on opioids, right, from a back injury or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's contributing. Then you had a bad heart. You had an enlarged heart. You're on drugs. You got hypertension. Okay, so that's probably what did it. They're talking about Derrick Chauvin, who was like 140 pounds at the time, was able to put all of his force on George Floyd's neck, who was like 6'4" or 230 pounds, big guy. You mean to tell me that Derrick Chauvin was able to do all that? It doesn't really make sense when you look at it, but people get on their emotions. They're saying, 9 minutes and X amount of seconds, he did this and did, that's pretty much what it is. Of course, you got the white officer, black victim. That's pretty much what it was. Okay, 75% artery blockage. There you go. And the 98% oxygen level in his blood was very good. I think the paramedics were saying that's like someone basically ever seen. So if his blood was highly oxygenated like that, then this whole thing about he couldn't breathe, is that what happened? I'm not really sure if that's what happened. I think that the things that he was doing to himself, the drugs and whatnot, the heart condition he already had. I think that was the main thing. And then he was put on the ground because he requested to get put on the ground. They were trying to put him in the car. They tried to put him in the car, open the window, and just let him relax. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to get on the ground per his request, and they let him get on the ground. It's unfortunate that he died, and may he rest in peace. But is it Derrick Chauvin's fault that George Floyd died? I don't think so. I think there may be a guilty verdict here, but it'll get overturned on an appeal because there's been so much interference from the outside, so much intimidation of the jury. It's just been really crazy. So we're going to see what's going on here. They're saying between 4:30, if I'm not mistaken, on the Eastern time and 5 o'clock, they're going to read the verdict in court. The jury was deliberating a little bit yesterday, well, quite a bit yesterday, and they've deliberated all day today. I've read that they've had 10 hours of deliberation total, and that's just pretty quick. So we're going to see what's going on here. What are the choices? You have varying degrees of murder. I think second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, third-degree murder, third-degree manslaughter, and I think that is it. And if I'm wrong about that, y'all let me know in the comments. And, of course, the other choice would be to not convict him. But we'll see. I was reading that since they reached the verdict so quickly, there's probably going to be some guilty. If there was going to be a not guilty, like a total acquittal, then it would take a little bit of a longer time. So it's a unanimous decision. It has come pretty quickly after about 10 hours of deliberation. So we'll see. I was waiting on the verdict for a long time. I'm like, okay, the trial, that's fine. But I think people's minds are made up. This is kind of just like a ceremony or circumstance at this point, popping circumstance. So go ahead and get to the verdict. And we have been able to reach the verdict. So we'll see what's going on. All right. Yeah. Maxine Waters has been really crazy. A lot of these people, Ilhan Omar, the whole squad, they've been really crazy. Oh, and the National Guard is down there in Minneapolis. They shut everything down because they expect an over-the-top reaction. A lot of the political people are using this to their advantage. I'm not really sure what their advantage would be, so they could just destroy things and say that they did it. They want to take claim for destroying Minneapolis. I don't really understand how that works. Maybe they're trying to intimidate people into passing their political their political aims, their bills or whatever through Congress. It's just kind of weird how they want to do things like that. Black Spice says, ABL, stop making excuses. I mean, if I told a lie, tell me what I'm told a lie. One thing I always hang my hat on is that I'm a truthful person. So if I told a lie, y'all let me know if I lied. But hey, if I'm lying, I'm flying. You see I'm still right here in my chair. I don't think I'm lying. I think that I'm telling the 100% truth. So we'll see what's going on here. The verdict will be read. If you're just now coming in, the verdict will be read between 4:30 and 5 o'clock Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. This is happening, of course, in Minneapolis. They're on Central Time. So maybe people are kind of confused about the whole thing about 4:30, Yeah, but it says 4:30 Eastern Time, so we'll see. So between 4:30 Eastern, which is in about 4 minutes, and 5 o'clock Eastern, the verdicts will be read live in court. And I'll be here live with you watching it. So we're going to see what's going on at that time. And I'll put it on the screen in the whole 9 yards. All right. So, yeah, if I'm lying, anybody, if I've told a lie, if I'm incorrect, y'all let me know. Of the name calling and everything else, that's fine. You could call me all the names in the world, but it won't prevent the truth from being the truth. It won't change the reality of what's happening. You can curse the sun out, but the sun ain't going to stop shining because you curse it out. It's still going to be there regardless of what. The sun is there. It's not going to stop. So it is what it is. Yeah, but like I said, it's unfortunate that he died, but people die every day. And at a certain point, people just can't blame the outside. They got to look at what's going on with that person to say why they died, how they died. Just like what they're talking about, Brian Sicknick. He did not die from getting hit in the head with a fire extinguisher or anything like that. He had, I think he had a series of strokes, 1 or 2 strokes the day after the whole thing on the 6th. So let's get to the truth. All this, talking, and let's get to the truth. Let's get to the reality of what's going on here. Also about Derrick Chauvin, the knee on the neck, the shoulder, wherever it was, that was a trained maneuver by the Minneapolis Police Department. It was in their training manual. So he was doing his job. He was doing what he was trained to do. Okay, you're on the ground. You like that specific maneuver was in the training manual. So if he was trained to do that, if it's in their books, then obviously they want you to use it. They're telling you to use it. So what else do you do? Do you do a non-trained method and then risk hurting someone? If you do a non-trained method and then someone gets seriously injured or loses their life as a result, or during the time you do it, even if the maneuver didn't necessarily cause a death, if it was an untrained maneuver, then you may be liable for that person's death. But in this case, the maneuver was trained. So how do you hold Derrick Chauvin liable for George Floyd's death when the maneuver was trained? They already sued. I think there's already been a lawsuit. There's been a settlement, millions of dollars or whatever. That's already happened. Because you could say that the maneuver shouldn't have been trained because it caused somebody to lose their life. Potentially, if you're able to prove it, which I don't think they've been able to prove. But if you're able to prove that, then you say the department shouldn't have trained that to the officer. But how are you going to hold the officer accountable for what they had been trained? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, if you have food that's prepared in an improper way, the ingredients were causing diseases and stuff like that. Are you going to train the workers at the facility where the food is produced and processed and bottled for somebody getting sick? Or are you going to sue the company itself that laid out the recipe, that laid out the procedure for preparing the food? Okay, you go to the source rather than the person that's just doing their job what they've been told to do. It's simple. But we'll see the whole thing play out here in court pretty soon. And thank y'all again for being here. I appreciate you guys watching this verdict with me live. Like the video, please. Also share the video. And if you're not subscribed to me yet, go ahead and do that right now. Even the trolls as well, because the trolls may become fans in the near future. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I thank you for that. We're going to get the verdict any moment now. They said between 4:30 Eastern and 5 o'clock Eastern. So right now it is 4:30 p.m. on East Coast time. So any moment now, I'll pop it on the screen. Matter of fact, do I have it over here? Let me just test it out right here. Okay, I could do that one. Yeah, so that'll be what you see right here on screen. And I'll make sure that this is visible and you're able to see what's happening. You're able to hear what's happening. As of right now, we don't have any movement, but as soon as we do, you guys will be the first to know. Let me just make sure I'm good. Okay, there we go. All right. So people are saying manslaughter, guilty. Now, do you guys think that if he's found guilty on everything, murder, manslaughter, tax evasion, whatever they're trying to get him on, if he's found guilty on everything, will there still be riots? And I'm thinking that there's still going to be riots because a lot of these people were out there rioting before there was even a verdict. They were out there rioting as soon as it happened. Okay, and it's like, all right, we got to get down to the bottom of it, like what happened, what's going on. It's like, it doesn't even really matter. Since he died, that's enough for there to be a riot. And since they're out there and they have that energy, that hateful energy in their heart and in their spirit, they're going to want to riot regardless. Am I right about that, wrong about that? Y'all let me know in the comments what's going on. All right, so you're saying hung jury, not guilty, innocent. It's all over the place. Third-degree manslaughter. All right, innocent, not guilty. There's a little bit of everything going on. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what's happening here. All right. And we are waiting. So riots, no matter what, riots are going to happen regardless. Yeah, you guys are probably right. Unfortunately, I don't want there to be rioting, of course. I wish that things would be better, but it is what it is. It's not about George Floyd or justice. It's correct. It's not about George Floyd or justice. A lot of this is about political narratives, people trying to get money individual groups out there fundraising for themselves. That's what this is about in a large part. Not 100%, but in large part, it's about that. So 50 degree murder. Come on. All right. Acquitted, hung jury. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. If you're just now coming in, we're going to get a verdict read in court, live in court. This is what I have right here. You'll see this scene become active, and they're going to read it in court. So whether that's, first degree murder, second degree manslaughter, third degree manslaughter, or he gets acquitted, we'll see what's going on. I've been reading that there's been a unanimous decision, so I don't think it's going to be a mistrial or a hung jury. I could be wrong. That could have been false information, but that's what I've been reading. So I'm going to go on the Twitters right now and see if there's any developments aside from what's happening over there in the court. And then we're going to see what's going on. All right. So let's see. Yeah, there's plenty of rioting, not rioting. There's plenty of protests going on right now. So let me see. Matter of fact, let's not put it over there. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop the desktop. So as you can see over there, there's some stuff happening. I don't have the sound on this one, but there's plenty of, there's like a little protest out there right now. All right. Can I turn the sound on? I guess not. So this is the scene right outside the courthouse. So these people can go from quote unquote peaceful to Antifa instantly. But we'll see what's happening. They're waiting on the verdict. They don't have anything yet, but they're waiting. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what's going on here. Oh, I do have sound on. I just can't hear it.
And we can do it together, y'all. Y'all make some noise if we looking for a celebration today. Make some noise! Hey, can I read this poem called George Floyd? Come on in. Let me give y'all one more chance. Let me see if y'all amped enough with it.
All right, so we'll see. We'll definitely see what's going on. So you heard sound? Yeah, I just couldn't hear it. I got the mixer. I couldn't hear it in there, but I can hear it now. So we're all good. All right. So they're out there. They're ready to go. And we are ready for a verdict any moment now. Like I said, if you're just not coming in between 4:30, which is obviously past that particular point right now, between 4:30 and 5 o'clock Eastern, they're going to read the verdict live in court as it relates to Derrick Chauvin and the death of George Floyd. Second degree murder, second degree manslaughter, third degree murder, third degree manslaughter, or an acquittal. I don't think there will be a hung jury or a mistrial because it's been a pretty quick verdict. It didn't really take too much time deliberating. Well, they took 10 hours, but how long is that really in a case like this? With so much to take into account, with so much outside pressure. But one thing I was saying earlier, one thing I will say is that I think there's going to be an immediate appeal, and this has the potential to be overturned on appeal if Chauvin is convicted. I don't care if it's a second degree, if it's a third degree manslaughter, I would still appeal that. If I was Derrick Chauvin's defense team, I would appeal that instantly, right away. Why not? Because there's been so much poisoning of the well, so to speak, when it comes to the jurors. They say they can't watch the news or anything like that, but how can they not see what's going on? How can they not know about George Floyd? How can they not know about things that are happening in society? You cannot be a news watcher, but you still leave your house at a certain point. You still have people that you know. I mean, you can't isolate yourself away from the things that are happening around you. You're going to see what's going on at a certain point in time. You're going to see it. All right. So thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you guys. We got quite a few of you in the building. Like the video for me, please. That'll help me out tremendously. Also, share the video. Do all that good stuff. If you did that for me, I most certainly appreciate it. Yeah, the trolls coming in, that's fine. The trolls going to be there regardless. You know, the trolls, they're doing their own version of rioting on the internet. They're doing keyboard rioting. Keyboard warriors doing keyboard riots. All they're going to do is type a whole lot in the comments that can't even really be seen anyway, because I can't even, it's going so fast on my end. It's going faster than it is right there on the actual screen. So it doesn't even make a difference. I can't even really see it. Okay. I'm trying to read some of this stuff here, but it's going so fast. Yeah, I really do feel bad for those that live there in Minneapolis for sure. I can't see who said that, but I do feel bad for those that have to live there in Minneapolis. I know people that used to live in Minneapolis that have left long before this verdict. I'm talking about like as soon as George Floyd happened last year, their immediate reaction was, okay, I got to get out of here. This is just too much going on. Minneapolis has had problems for a while because it's a very liberal place and you got multiculturalism going on. It's had some issues for quite a while. But since this whole thing with George Floyd has happened and you have had just an increase in the crime, a ridiculous city council that's trying to get Netflix movie deals and things of that nature, with that going on, where is the care for your citizens? Where's the, what do your citizens have to do to get any kind of respect in the city? You understand? So there's a lot going on. People just say, you know what, I rather would just not deal with it. That is what's going on. All right. Yeah, I ain't worried about the trolls. Hey, the people that are good people that understand what the reality of the world is and the truth, and they just want to hear what's happening, they're here. And you guys are going to be with me. So I appreciate y'all for joining. All right. So we'll see. All right. Let me see. Uncle Ron says, will Minneapolis even be around for an appeal? I think the city will burn either way. That's a good point, man. Unfortunately, I don't wish any kind of destruction on Minneapolis, but it's already happened. They're already out there. The people that could cause destruction and mayhem are already out there. Now, the good part of this is that you have the National Guard's already out there. They're already out there in Minneapolis as we speak, as far as I know. So that's the good part. Unfortunately, there still may be a bunch of chaos, and not just from those that live in Minneapolis, but those that live elsewhere, those that come from all over the country, maybe even all over the world, but definitely from all over the country that have descended upon Minneapolis to engage in chaos. I was reading that a lot of the Portland rioters are out there in Minneapolis, the Seattle rioters, people that have been all over the country engaging in lawlessness have descended upon Minneapolis for this situation. So regardless of what goes on, guilty, innocent, it doesn't matter. They're going to be there looking for a fight. They're looking for a riot to be engaged in. It's not even about looting and stealing. So you're going to have those that are out there that want to steal and loot. But those that have traveled from other countries, not other countries for the most part, other states, those that have traveled just want to, and they want to see the world burn, and they want to push their own political agenda. And they feel like the best way to push their political agenda is to destroy, to intimidate, to harass, to bully. That's what they are. They're a bunch of bullies. And they're soft because they don't like doing things by themselves. They don't like one-on-one fisticuffs or any kind of confrontation when it's just you and them in the room by yourself. They want to have 15,000 of them at once so they can be strong as a unified force to just tear down the country, basically, which is really a shame. All right. So we'll see what's happening really soon. BLM fundraiser. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Big time BLM fundraiser. Like you guys may know, I've said it many times right here on the channel. Black Lives Matter and other Black Lives Matter affiliated groups, after George Floyd died in 2020, they raised $10.6 billion. Not just Black Lives Matter, obviously, not just one group, but Black Lives Matter and other affiliated similar groups, they raised $10.6 billion after George Floyd died. So, yeah, this is yet another BLM fundraiser, for sure. And no question about it. All right, so we're going to see what's going on here. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best. Couldn't do it without you. And we should get an announcement any moment now. They said between 4:30 and 5. We're at about 4:43 Eastern time, so we got about 17 more minutes. At least, I suppose. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. All right, and we are here waiting for it. Let me see. All right, I'm just reading some of the Twitters here, and I got it right over here. I got it right here. So as soon as this scene changed, I can see it right over here. I'm on dual monitor. So as soon as that scene changes right over there, I'll bring it up on the screen, and then we go ahead and get into the actual verdict. And my sound is on, so you guys can hear it. Even if I'm not necessarily keyed it on the screen, it'll still come through the audio. So you'll be able to hear what's going on regardless. So we're going to see what's happening in just a moment. All right. I'm just reading Twitter here to see if there's anything else. All right. Let me see. Let's see if anything else is going on. No, they don't have anything else other than what we know right now. We're just waiting. We're just sitting back waiting. Okay, so let's see. Now, a quick rundown of the counts. So count 1, second-degree murder. Count 2, third-degree murder. Count 3, second-degree manslaughter. And I think that is it. I thought it was a third-degree manslaughter as well, but I guess not. So that's what it is. Maybe that person is wrong that says this, but this is a blue check person, so I would presume that they understand what's going on. All right. But again, I don't think that Derrick Chauvin is guilty. I don't think so, because I don't see any evidence that he intentionally killed George Floyd or that he killed him, quite frankly, because the knee was not ruled as a cause of death. And the knee was a trained maneuver by the Minneapolis Police Department. So if the knee was a trained maneuver, then how can you charge someone with murder for using a trained maneuver? How can you do that? You may be able to sue the Minneapolis Police Department for training of a dangerous technique if it was proven to be dangerous, but you can't lock somebody up for doing what they were trained to do. I don't see how that makes any sense. I think George Floyd's physical condition is what ultimately caused his death and not the trained maneuver. And again, if it was a trained maneuver, then how are you going to blame the officer for using the trained maneuver? You blame the police department and sue them. And the family's already been paid like $30-something million. They already been paid for, if there was any problems with that, with the maneuver or the police department, they've already been compensated for that in a civil way. You're not going to hold the police department criminally liable. In this case, in my humble opinion, they already paid out a bunch of money from the city, so any kind of civil problem has already been dealt with. Now, when it comes to a criminal problem, that's what we're going to see here. If he's convicted on any of the counts, whether it's the second-degree murder, third-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, he'll immediately appeal, in my humble opinion. Why not? The jury pool, it's impossible to have the jury pool unpoisoned. Everyone has seen this. They could just be totally not watching the news, not watching television, but they're still going to understand what's happening. They're still going to be intimidated. Some of the jurors from the OJ trial or the Rodney King, OJ trial. Some of the jurors from the OJ trial did not want to convict him because they were scared of what would happen if they convicted him. They were scared of the riots. They were scared of being, killed themselves. Jason Whitlock, shout out to him. He even said that the the jurors don't want to throw their own lives away. They don't want to throw their own lives away, to convict or to not convict Derrick Chauvin. They're going to go ahead and convict him to save themselves. And it's hard for somebody to really be mad at that. You don't want someone to do a thing just because you don't want someone to throw somebody away that shouldn't be thrown away. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, either it's you or me. That's how they may feel. So because of that, it's like, all right, let's go ahead and appeal this. Let's go ahead and appeal it because it's totally unfair. The evidence does not point to me being convicted, but we'll see what happens. If he gets convicted, which I think he will, because there's been a pretty quick verdict. It's been a pretty quick verdict. It said about 10 hours of deliberation. So we'll see what's going on here. All right. And thank you, Peter. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. All right. So we got about 11 more minutes, I suppose. They said between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, there's going to be a verdict read. And I'm just waiting here just like y'all. I am waiting. And I guess we're going to get to it as soon as possible. Again, there's a scene already queued up. Already got it over here. And this is the scene. This is the courthouse in Minnesota in Hennepin County, which is Minneapolis. So we're going to go to this as soon as they have any kind of movement. As of right now, it ain't too much going on. I don't hear anything. And I got the sound on. I did not have it on my headphones before, but I can hear everything that's going on. So as soon as we get some action, we're going to be live and being able to hear it. Thank you, Bill M. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, Maxine Waters came out and said, we got to get the right verdict. It can't just be manslaughter. It's got to be murder. And if you don't get the murder conviction, then we got to be confrontational in the streets. We got to really be doing things. Now, if she says we have to have the murder conviction, and if we don't, we must be confrontational, ask yourself, what does that mean? And what are you talking about really being confrontational? How do you do that? I like to really know, she needs to kind of unpack that for me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what does that really mean? Someone may take that as we need to confront the jurors or confront Derrick Chauvin or confront just random people in the street that we think feel like Derrick Chauvin was innocent. So how do you really respond to that? You see? But we're going to get to it here pretty soon. All right. Let's go back to this here. This is out there right in front of the courthouse. They're out there so-called protesting. Right now, it appears to be moderately peaceful, basically peaceful. I don't see any riots. They're just peaceful protests, right? Now, the problem is if this verdict goes a different way than what they want, are they going to remain peaceful or are they going to do something else? A lot of them already got all black on. They could just, go get masked up and do what they want to do. The good part is that there is the National Guard already there. They're already there in Minneapolis. So hopefully they're able to reduce and or eliminate the damage from rioting. We don't want to see the city get destroyed yet again. And not just Minneapolis, but all over the place. Now, not to compare George Floyd to MLK, so please don't get them misconstrued. I'm not trying to compare George Floyd to Martin Luther King Jr. However, when MLK died, the whole nation was torn up. It was riots everywhere, like all over every city almost. So hopefully we don't see the same thing here. And shout out to Florida. Shout out to Ron DeSantis for saying, hey, here's a bill we're going to come out with. If you are engaging in a riot, not a peaceful protest, you can peacefully protest and there's no problem. That's all good. But if you decide to riot in our state, you're going to go to jail. You may go to the penitentiary. Big rocks into little rocks. Okay, so don't do it. Just don't do it. That should be the same message sent all over the nation, not just in Florida, but also in Minneapolis. Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, who was booed by a crowd that were like George Floyd supporters, he's talking about, oh, there needs to be the right verdict, all this and that. You're throwing gasoline on the fire. If I was a Minneapolis resident and my mayor is talking about, well, it's got to be the right verdict, I'm like, sir, you putting everybody in the crosshairs here. Because if the verdict does not go the quote unquote correct way, then where do we land in that? How are we going to be protected from any kind of lawlessness? And what about when the National Guard leave eventually? Or are we going to always be occupied like how they're trying to do DC? You know, being occupied by guards walking the street. Are we a third world country or what? Like, what's happening here? But I'll move on. So yeah, shout out to Florida. Hey, you guys got the best governor in the union right now. I like our governor out here in Tennessee, Bill Lee. Big ups to Bill Lee. And I like Georgia's governor as well. Some might not like him all the way because of the election, but I like Brian Kemp. There's a lot of good governors out there, but shout out to Ron DeSantis of Florida for doing the right thing. All right. Shout out to him. And what else we got going on? Let me see. Thank you, Gluty. Thank you, Gluty. I appreciate it. Let me see. I'm reading some of the comments. You guys are crazy. I can see some of the comments, but a lot of them are just going so fast on my end. Like I said before, it goes faster over in my back end than it does right here. So it's kind of hard for me to see everything. Right here is real small on my end. Right there is just faster. All right. But yeah, Florida is great. I've been to Miami. I've been to, like, what was that? Jacksonville somewhere. Love Florida. I want to go back real soon. Thank you. I can't pronounce your name. Kais Riemann. I know I tore it up. It's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for turning it up like that. Okay, we got about 5 minutes until the until the, I guess, deadline, quote unquote, for them to read the verdict. So we're going to see. Thank you, Princess. I appreciate it. All right. What's the verdict? We're waiting on the verdict. The verdict will be read live on air any moment now. They said between 4:30 Eastern and 5 o'clock Eastern, and we are at 4:55 Eastern time right now. They've not read it yet, so I'm just waiting on them. I'm patiently waiting, and we're going to go ahead and get rocking as soon as something moves. I have it queued up right here. Got it queued up right there, so as soon as they say something, I'll be able to hear it. We'll bring you right to the video, and then we'll get to the verdict. Manslaughter at best. Hey, but Maxine Waters said manslaughter not enough. You got to get murder. And if you don't get murdered, well, we need to be more confrontational. Okay, let me see. How about Canada? Hey, Canada, I've seen some troubling video from Canada, and I just don't really know what is going to happen, you know? Yeah, 5 p.m. That's the original time. And I was watching the news and reading the news. They said between 4:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is like right now. Okay, it is now 4:56 Eastern, so we got about 4 more minutes. They could be late. You never know. You know, it could be some last minute thing. Somebody could say, you know what? I've changed my mind. I don't want to. Anything could happen, but we'll see. My thing is that they probably already put it in there and said, okay, go ahead and read it. And they're just waiting for some reason. I have no idea why they're waiting to read the verdict if they already have the verdict in their hand. But we'll see. All right. Yeah, somebody was asking about Canada in the chat. I was just reading the chat until we get to the actual verdict. So again, we have 3 possible charges, possibly 4, but at least 3. 2nd-degree murder, 3rd-degree murder, and 2nd-degree manslaughter. I thought it was also a 3rd-degree manslaughter, but I've not seen that listed most recently. So you have 3 counts. He could be found guilty on all counts, on one of the counts, 2 of the counts, or he could be acquitted. It could be a hung jury, which I don't think it would be a hung jury or anything like that because they've reached a quick verdict. So it probably won't be anything weird like that, like a hung jury or a mistrial. I don't think so. All right. But we'll see. We'll definitely see what's going on any moment now. So y'all just hang tight. We will just hang tight. All right, so what do you guys think is going to be the result? Is it going to be guilty on all 3 counts? Guilty on 2 counts, 1 count, acquittal, mistrial, hung jury? What's going to be the result of all this? What's going to be the end goal, the end game here? I have no idea. I think that if we're going to go by reality, he should be acquitted. From what he's been charged with, I don't see how he can be found guilty legally. However, the situation is not a typical situation. This is something that the whole world is watching right now. You know, you got President Biden talking about it, Maxine Waters, you got these entertainers and people in the street, people in the street that are very dangerous, these so-called protesters, really rioters. They're out in the street. They're talking about it. They're intimidating people. So with all that going on, I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on the jurors to go ahead and convict them on all 3. If not all 3, at least one of the 3. But we'll see what happens. They may surprise me and come back and say, okay, he's not guilty on all charges. And he just get off. You know, hey, I'm just waiting for it. We got 1 more minute. And if we get to the minute, 5 o'clock, and they go beyond it, then it could be at any moment. They might come back, I don't know when, and say what the actual verdict is. But we'll see. They probably won't be too long waiting on the verdict to get reached because at a certain point, people got to go home and they got jobs. But we'll see what happens. We will see what's going on. I'm just waiting, patient like all you guys. All right, Ilhan Omar said, it's a closed case, but we will see. We will see. All right. So if you're living in a large city right now, if you're living in a large liberal city, be safe. Be safe. Make sure that you are proactive in your safety. If you have arms and you can use it, you got all your stuff in order, everything's legal, be ready. Protect yourself. Don't go out there looking for no problems. Protect yourself and be peaceful, be lawful. That's my main thing I always say on this channel. Be lawful, be peaceful. That's like what Trump said, right? Be peaceful. That's what I always say as well. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem regardless of what somebody said it right there. They were like, it doesn't matter what the verdict is. He's still going to have to pay a lot. He's going to pay a lot, but we'll see. We are now at 5:01 p.m. Eastern time, so we're late. We're just waiting. It could be any moment now. Yeah, don't go downtown. If you live in Minneapolis, just don't even do it. Just hunker down. Don't try to be out there trying to capture footage or nothing like that. Unless you got like a heavy police escort, body armor. Just be safe. That's what I want. I want you guys to be safe and protect yourself. That's my main thing. That is my main point for you guys right now. To be safe, to protect yourself. All right. So we're just waiting. We are past the time, but we're just waiting. Now, I hope that the jurors are safe in this situation. I hope they're safe. I hope nobody is trying to attack them. We don't want that at all. Not in the least bit. All right. So we are waiting. And what else we got going on here? I'm reading some of the chat. Let me see. Yeah, board your windows. Like a lot of places in downtown Minneapolis are boarded up right now because they're anticipating riots and in general, just lawlessness and chaos. They see that coming already, so they don't even really want to they don't want to risk any problems. All right. Hey, thank you, PJ. PJ says, thanks, ABL. I'm homeless, so nobody coming to my neighborhood. Hey, man. I've seen quite a few things that shouldn't be happening that have happened over the past few years, but definitely since this whole George Floyd thing has popped off. Just unnecessary, ridiculous, gratuitous violence, really silly stuff that's been going on that won't help anything at all. What are my thoughts about what's going to happen? I think that there may be a conviction. He'll probably get convicted on all counts or at least one count. Either he'll get convicted on all the counts, on all three, second, third degree murder, second degree manslaughter, or just second degree manslaughter. But I hope that he'll get acquitted because I don't think he did any of the above. That's just me though, but just realistically, because of the situation and the pressure on the jurors and the safety component that's really a problem here, I think he'll be convicted on all three or at least one. Definitely, because if they get him on the two murder charges, why not the manslaughter as well? Why not, why just two versus, I don't know, but we'll see. Either they're going to give him the ultimate or they're going to give him the low. But it probably will be a conviction because they don't want to throw their own lives away. Because if they get doxxed, if the jurors get doxxed and they acquit them, I mean, that's very dangerous for them. They see what they've done to the city. They see what they've been threatening, not just those that are out there on the streets to quote unquote foot soldiers, but also the politicians, your Maxine Waters, your Ilhan Omar. Oh,
please be seated.
Movement. All right, here comes the judge, Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill. Derrick Chauvin and his lawyer. All rise.
All rise for the jury. All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derrick Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court File Number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. All right, be seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, the state would move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further?
All
right. Thank you.
So now he's in jail because he's been remanded. So he's going to get cuffed right now and go to jail. So that's it. Guilty on all counts.
We're adjourned.
Guilty on all counts, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Sentencing will happen in about 6 weeks, so we don't know yet what he's going to face as far as actual time in the penitentiary. And there will be an appeal, of course. If I'm right, which I think I am, there's going to be a penalty. There's going to be an appeal. It says 4 o'clock because they're in Central Time, but it is the right time. It's 5:10 Eastern Time. But it's going to be an appeal on that. I think this is a crazy decision. I mean, really, second-degree murder, that should be easy, really, to go ahead and appeal, because where is the evidence that there was intent to hurt this man or anything of that nature? Okay, if you saw the body-worn camera, they did everything in their power to make sure that he was straight, that he was fine, that he wasn't going to be freaking out or anything like that. There were 2 passengers that he had in his car. Speaking about George Floyd, he had 2 passengers, and they didn't have any problems at all. They were on the side of the road saying to George Floyd, hey, man, stop fighting. You can't win. Just stop. They had no problems. They didn't get harassed. They didn't get touched at all by the police. They were chilling. George Floyd had the issue. George Floyd was on the drugs. George Floyd was instrumental in his own demise, unfortunately. He had bad health problems, drug problems, was high at the time of their arrest. That's what happened, in my humble opinion. I think, just in my opinion here, I think the jurors were afraid of what would happen if they didn't find him guilty on all charges. Maxine Waters said it, hey, we need a murder conviction, not just a manslaughter conviction. And if we don't get a murder conviction, we got to be out there in the streets. We must be more confrontational. What does that mean? Obviously, we got to be out there more violent. She said that before. She said it in 2018. Hey, we got to get in their face. We got to surround them. We got to push up on them. Speaking about the Trump administration. Remember that, 2018. Here she is right now, 2021, in Minnesota, right there on ground zero, basically saying the exact same thing. Ilhan Omar saying that it's pretty much a closed case. It should be over. Ilhan Omar is an elected official in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Been there for a long time. as a Somali refugee, big ties to the Somali community in Minneapolis, all right? Been there for a very long time, many, many years. Joe Biden talking about it as well, saying that we need to have the right verdict come about in this case. So there's so many factors that go into this. There's so much intimidation to the jurors. I feel like their hand was forced. They couldn't say anything else other than what they said. Not because it's legally the correct thing, but because it's the right thing to protect themselves, to preserve their own safety. They may have children, they got family members, they don't want anybody to get hurt, and they don't want to get hurt themselves. So this was a life-preserving measure, in my humble opinion. But we'll see. There's going to be an appeal. I mean, if there's not an appeal, I'll be totally surprised. But as of right now, Derrick Chauvin, the officer who was involved with the arrest of George Floyd, in which George Floyd died, he was being convicted on 3 counts: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. We don't know how long he's going to be in jail yet, or the penitentiary, because we've not had sentencing yet. That'll be in about 6 weeks. But there will probably be an appeal, and the judge even stated that this whole case can get overturned on an appeal based upon what the political people like Maxine Waters and everybody else has been saying. And also because the facts aren't really there to say murder, in my opinion. The most you could really get them on with it sticking, perhaps, is the manslaughter. Kind of like, you're just negligent, you didn't do right, maybe. But murder? No, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. And people are talking about, they want to celebrate that, right? It's funny how people want to celebrate this, but then when one of their family members gets locked up and it was obviously not right, they obviously got railroaded, then they want to say A cab and F the police. Which one is it? But I digress. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out pretty soon. But hopefully we don't see a trend here of social justice becoming justice. We have a system of justice that is supposed to be based on fact and evidence rather than just intimidation and things of that nature. Now, if we go down this road anymore, we become Banana Republic. And then what other case will end like this? It could be you, your family member, anybody else. So this kind of mob rule, mob justice can't be the norm because it's just not right. And it will affect those that are the biggest supporters of it right now. Those who want to be out there celebrating, doing a Tootsie Roll, the Cha-Cha Slide, and everything else, they'd be crying tears when they got to board that train. But I digress. So that's pretty much all I got. Again, Derrick Chauvin has been found guilty on all counts: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. The sentencing will be in about 6 weeks. He probably will appeal it. I think he has a pretty good chance of being able to overturn all of what he's been convicted of so far. But that'll be a wrap. So thank y'all for being here yet again. If you appreciated this video, I don't want to say enjoy, but like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It's 100% free. I'll be putting out more about this very soon here. So that'll be a wrap. Until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.